Welcome, dear listener, to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that's often, well, completely misunderstood, yet holds immense transformative power in ways we rarely consider. We live in a world that relentlessly chases the spotlight, celebrates the loudest voice, and encourages us to, fake it till we make it. It's a culture that seems to tell us that the only way to get ahead is to assert dominance, declare our expertise, and project this image of infallible strength. But what if that's not where true lasting strength resides? What if the real heroes, the ones who make lasting impact and build genuine success, are actually practicing something far more subtle, something we often dismiss as a weakness, or even worse, maybe as a sign of insecurity?
Indeed, the sources we've explored for this deep dive suggest precisely that. Our mission today is to flip that script entirely. We've gathered some fascinating research and insights that fundamentally challenge our conventional thinking about an ancient virtue: humility. And let's be absolutely clear from the outset, this isn't about being meek or shy or thinking less of yourself. Quite the opposite, in fact. It's about cultivating a quiet, profound confidence, an inner security that, as our sources reveal, can radically transform your life, your relationships, and your leadership in ways that constant self-promotion simply cannot. Prepare to have your perspective shifted, because this deep dive will show you that humility is, in fact, an unsung superpower, a strategic advantage that can elevate you and everyone around you to new heights.
Okay, let's unpack this. Many of us carry significant baggage around the word humility, don't we? We've been conditioned, perhaps by culture or past experiences, to associate it with thinking less of ourselves, or worse, being a doormat. Someone easily exploited or ignored. The very idea of being humble can even feel counterintuitive in a fiercely competitive world, like you're willingly giving up your edge. But the academic and leadership literature we've consulted is incredibly quick to clarify that this couldn't be further from the truth. They emphatically state that the common perception of humility is a profound and limiting misconception.
Yeah, and one of the most striking points in the material reveals how clearly these common myths are dismantled right from the start. The research explicitly tells us that humility is not about thinking you're worthless. It's absolutely not about letting people walk all over you, which is a common fear.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definitely not about never acknowledging your strengths or achievements. These are widespread but ultimately damaging misinterpretations that prevent us from even considering humility, let alone harnessing its true power. They are cognitive and emotional barriers that we need to actively dismantle if we're to truly grasp what it means and how it functions.
So if it's not any of those things, what is true humility then?
Well, the core definition that emerges consistently across our sources is accurate self-assessment.
Accurate self-assessment.
It's about finding that delicate, precise balance between outright arrogance, which is an overestimation of self-worth and capabilities,
Right.
and debilitating self-deprecation, which is an underestimation. It involves seeing yourself with crystal clarity, your strengths, your weaknesses, your immense potential, and your very real limitations, all without the distorting lens of ego getting in the way.
It's like reviewing your own vacation photos, maybe. An arrogant person might only post the perfectly filtered Instagram-worthy shots, ignoring any imperfections. A self-deprecating person might delete them all, convinced nothing is good enough.
Yeah.
But true humility, that's seeing the stunning sunset and the bad hair day, appreciating the full, authentic experience. Knowing both are part of your story without letting either define your entire worth or distort your perception.
That's a great analogy. And this accurate self-perception, as studies compiled in our sources reveal, doesn't just make you more confident. Individuals who practice this actually exhibit a, get this, 30% faster rate of skill acquisition and problem solving compared to their more arrogant peers.
Wow, 30%. That's significant.
It is. It shows it's not just a soft skill. It's a cognitive accelerator.
Okay.
And this precise self-awareness, this ability to see yourself accurately and dispassionately, stems from what the sources describe as a secure sense of self.
A secure sense of self.
This is crucial. It means you don't operate from a place of needing constant external validation to know your worth. You aren't constantly searching for applause, approval, or affirmation from others to feel good about who you are.
Right, you're not looking outside for that.
Exactly. Instead, you are grounded in an internal understanding of your value, your capabilities, and your purpose. This inner security is what frees you from the endless, exhausting pursuit of outward affirmation, and it's what allows you to truly see others and the world around you for what they are, rather than just projecting your own needs and insecurities onto them. It's the psychological bedrock upon which true humility is built.
That's a powerful distinction, and it completely reframes the concept for many. Consider, for a moment, two contrasting leaders, maybe in a critical strategy meeting. Imagine one leader who constantly boasts, "I'm the best, I know it all, just listen to me." Their confidence comes across as a demand for obedience, a closure to any dissenting or alternative viewpoints.
Yeah, shuts things down.
Right. Now, compare that to another leader who says, "I have an idea, but what do you think about this approach? What potential pitfalls do you foresee?" The sources argue, quite convincingly, that the second leader isn't weak or unsure of themselves in that moment. They're strategically gathering intelligence.
Exactly. They're seeking diverse perspectives, tapping into the collective wisdom and experience of their team.
Mm-hmm.
And, perhaps most importantly, building crucial buy-in from the very people who will execute the idea.
So it seems humility isn't just about personal character, but a profoundly strategic tool for organizational success.
Precisely. Our sources consistently underscore that this isn't some abstract moral virtue, but a pragmatic, results-driven methodology. This aha moment, as many leaders discover, fundamentally reconfigures how we perceive strength and leadership. The leader who asks for input isn't signaling weakness. They're demonstrating a secure self-awareness that allows them to value other contributions without feeling diminished.
That makes sense.
This is a critical leadership competency, especially in complex environments where no single individual can possess all the necessary information or solutions. The humility to ask for input fosters a sense of collective ownership and innovation, which research firmly links to higher team performance and adaptability.
With this new lens on humility, the practical applications aren't just interesting. They become absolutely vital, particularly when we examine the compelling evidence from the research. It's like we've finally recalibrated our internal compass, and now the path to unstoppable personal growth suddenly illuminates itself. Once we shed those old, limiting misconceptions about what humility truly is, its practical benefits start to come into sharp focus, especially when it comes to personal growth. Our sources frame humility not just as a virtue, but as the fundamental engine of relentless learning and incredible resilience, two qualities that are absolutely essential for navigating our rapidly changing and often unpredictable world. It's like unlocking an internal upgrade for your own continuous development.
And the clarity with which the sources illustrate this is truly eye-opening. They offer a brilliant analogy that really helps visualize this concept. Think about it this way. Arrogance is described as a closed fist. Imagine it, tightly clenched, rigidly holding on to what it thinks it already knows. It's closed off, refusing to let anything new in, whether it's a fresh idea, a different perspective, or even just acknowledging a mistake. In a meeting, this person might interrupt frequently, dismiss suggestions, or cling to their initial assumptions, even when presented with contradictory evidence.
We've all seen that.
Yeah, this posture inherently limits growth and perpetuates blind spots. Humility, on the other hand, is an open hand. It's relaxed, receptive, and ready to receive new information, new experiences, and new perspectives without judgment or defensiveness.
Okay.
In a discussion, this person listens, asks clarifying questions, and genuinely considers what's being offered. It's a fundamental posture of openness that allows for constant learning and adaptation.
And that open hand posture leads directly to what our sources call the learning mindset.
Huh.
A humble person understands deeply and intrinsically that they don't have all the answers. They grasp the infinite scope of knowledge and recognize that their own understanding, while valuable, is always incomplete. This isn't a weakness. On the contrary, the research identifies it explicitly as a sign of intelligence and the very engine of genuine curiosity. Humble individuals aren't afraid to ask stupid questions, a fear that often paralyzes the arrogant, who are more concerned with appearing knowledgeable than actually learning, because they intrinsically know that's precisely how true, profound learning happens. They understand that every question, even a seemingly basic one, can unlock a new layer of understanding or challenge a faulty assumption, which is critical for innovation.
Absolutely. Humble individuals actively seek out people who are smarter than them, people who possess knowledge or skills they lack, not to feel inferior or to compare themselves unfavorably. Instead, their motivation is precisely to absorb that wisdom, to learn, and to expand their own capabilities.
That makes sense.
This is described as the hallmark mindset of every great innovator, scientist, artist, and successful entrepreneur throughout history. They are constantly, relentlessly, in a state of learning and refinement. They never believe they've arrived at a final destination of knowledge. For example, a longitudinal study cited in the sources found that professionals who actively sought out and integrated feedback from more experienced colleagues consistently outperformed their peers by an average of 15% in complex problem-solving tasks over a 2-year period.
15% just from seeking feedback.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this learning machine quality makes you incredibly adaptable and immensely invaluable in today's fast-changing world. When you embrace that you don't know everything, when you genuinely open yourself to new information, you unlock infinite growth possibilities, making you more resilient and more relevant over the long term.
That brings us directly to the second aspect of growth: resilience and adaptability. Life, as we all know, is full of curveballs. Your meticulously crafted plans will inevitably fail at some point. You will make mistakes, and you will undoubtedly face setbacks professionally, personally, creatively. Our sources offer a stark contrast here in how people react. The arrogant person will typically react by externalizing blame.
Yes, pointing fingers.
Exactly. They'll blame everyone else, becoming bitter, rigid, and resistant to any form of self-reflection. Their ego is too fragile to admit fault or see their own contribution to the problem, so they lash out, dig in, or simply disengage, repeating the same mistakes.
The humble person, however, reacts in a profoundly different way. When faced with a setback or a failure, their immediate, almost instinctive response is to ask, what did I do wrong?
Okay.
What aspects of this situation were within my control? What can I learn from this experience? How can I be better next time? This introspective, self-accountable approach is described as the ultimate form of resilience because it involves owning your failures without letting them define you.
So it's not about beating yourself up.
Yeah. No, not at all. It's not about wallowing in guilt or shame. It's about actively taking responsibility for your part, understanding the lessons embedded in the experience, and then strategically moving forward with greater wisdom and refined strategies. The research indicates that individuals with higher measures of humility recover from professional setbacks 40% faster than those with higher narcissistic traits, purely due to this learning orientation.
40% faster recovery.
Whoa.
Wow.
It's significant.
And that ownership gives you incredible power, the power to change and adapt rather than being trapped by past errors. Humility effectively transforms your mistakes. Instead of mistakes becoming heavy, crushing tombstones marking the end of an endeavor, they become vital stepping stones, lifting you higher, guiding your next steps with hard-earned wisdom. This mindset allows you to bounce back faster, recover more completely, and ultimately avoid the crushing, paralyzing weight of shame that so often accompanies failure for those with unchecked egos. For you, our listener, whether navigating a career pivot, recovering from a personal challenge, trying to master a new skill, or even just dealing with a minor everyday misstep, this means turning every stumble, every misstep, every moment of not knowing into a powerful opportunity for strength, growth, and accelerated learning.
It's how you cultivate anti-fragility, becoming stronger because of adversity, not despite it.
So, with this understanding of humility's impact on personal growth, what does this all mean for how we truly connect with others? Beyond individual development, our well-being is deeply and undeniably tied to the quality of our relationships. Whether it's with family, friends, colleagues, or even the wider community, those interactions profoundly shape our daily experience and long-term happiness. And it turns out, according to our sources, humility is the fundamental secret ingredient that makes those relationships not just functional, but truly thrive and flourish.
The core findings in our relational psychology sources is a profound observation. How often are we truly listening in our daily interactions?
Good question.
The material provides another incredibly powerful analogy here. Arrogance, they say, is like a megaphone,
Okay.
always broadcasting its own thoughts, its own opinions, its own preformed judgments, eager to be heard above all else. When you encounter someone wielding this megaphone, you often feel unheard, dismissed, or simply like a sounding board for their own self-affirmation.
Definitely.
Humility, conversely, is a pair of ears. It's a posture of receptivity, an active seeking to absorb rather than just emit. It fundamentally shifts the focus from what I want to say to what the other person is expressing, both verbally and non-verbally.
That's a profound difference, isn't it? When you approach a conversation with genuine humility, you are not just passively waiting for your turn to talk, formulating your response in your head.
Right.
You truly listen to the person in front of you. You engage with their words, their tone, their underlying emotions. You validate their feelings and perspectives, even if they differ radically from your own, because you understand that their viewpoint is valid for them within their own context. This isn't about agreeing unconditionally. It's about acknowledging their lived experience and processing their thoughts with respect.
And that deeper level of engagement allows for a true exchange of ideas and emotions, rather than two monologues running in parallel, leaving both parties feeling disconnected.
Yeah, disconnected is the word.
And this act of genuine listening has an incredible, palpable impact on others. It makes people feel seen, heard, and deeply understood, which, as the sources point out, is one of the most powerful and affirming gifts you can possibly give someone.
Truly.
It communicates respect, value, and sincere care. When neuroscientists study interpersonal communication, they found that genuine empathic listening actually reduces stress hormones in the speaker, fostering a sense of psychological safety.
That's fascinating. Reduces stress just by listening.
Exactly. And when people feel genuinely seen and heard, it builds profound, bedrock trust. The kind of trust that forms the unbreakable foundation of any meaningful relationship, moving interactions from superficial to deeply authentic, capable of weathering disagreements and challenges.
This genuine listening then paves the way for the art of empathy.
Right.
Humility, in essence, is the key that unlocks empathy. When your ego has taken a backseat, when you truly understand that you are not, in fact, the absolute center of the universe, you can much more easily step into someone else's shoes. You can begin to see the world, even for just a moment, from their vantage point, understanding their motivations, their fears, and their aspirations.
And it's not about losing yourself in their experience,
No.
but about gaining a fuller, richer understanding of it, which enriches your own perspective too.
Yeah.
This allows you to feel their pain, to genuinely celebrate their joy, and to offer truly authentic, supportive assistance, creating a deep, resonant bond that superficial relationships built on status, shared interests, or convenience simply can't match. Humility allows you to connect on a raw human level, stripping away the titles, the achievements, the perceived status, the societal roles that so often create artificial distance and barriers between people.
Cuts through all that noise.
It reminds us of our shared humanity, fostering a sense of solidarity and mutual respect. The research on social capital consistently shows that individuals perceived as humble, who listen and empathize, build significantly broader and more resilient networks of support, both personally and professionally.
So for you, our listener, think about the people in your life with whom you have the deepest, most resilient connections. It's highly likely those bonds are built on mutual understanding, genuine listening, and profound empathy. All qualities nurtured and strengthened by a humble approach to interaction. These are the relationships that truly sustain us through life's ups and downs.
Absolutely, they're foundational.
Now let's zoom out a bit to the broader impact, specifically in the realm of leadership. This is where many people still cling to the old misconception that a leader must be dominant, unyielding, and always right to command respect. Don't make the mistake of equating a humble leader with a weak one. Our sources argue with compelling evidence that, in fact, a humble leader is often the strongest and most respected,
Right.
not just internally within their organization, but also within their industry and community. How does that work when it flies in the face of so much conventional wisdom about power and authority?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is how the sources powerfully show that genuine, effective leadership isn't about individual glory or personal power accumulation.
Okay.
It's about empowering others to achieve collective success. And humility, they show, is absolutely central to that empowerment, shifting the focus from the leader's ego and infallibility to the team's potential and shared wisdom.
So it's a shift in focus.
It's a paradigm shift from a command and control model to one of collaboration and collective intelligence.
And a prime example of this is in how humble leaders approach success and failure, a critical determinant of team culture. Consider the contrast. The arrogant leader typically rushes to take all the credit for any success,
Oh, yeah.
soaking up the accolades for themselves, often downplaying the contributions of their team, while just as quickly they assign all the blame for any failure to their team members or external circumstances, never taking personal responsibility.
Noxic.
Exactly. This creates an incredibly toxic dynamic that crushes morale, stifles initiative, and breeds deep resentment within any team. People feel disposable and unappreciated.
The humble leader, on the other hand, does the exact opposite. They make it a point to publicly celebrate their team's wins, amplifying their contributions and giving credit generously, often deflecting praise from themselves. But when things go wrong, when there are losses or setbacks, they privately and genuinely take responsibility for the team's shortcomings, standing in front of the problem and shielding their team rather than pointing fingers.
That takes real strength.
It does. And this approach, as our sources consistently highlight, builds trust and fierce loyalty in a way that no bonus, no promotion, no amount of external praise from the top could ever achieve. It creates an incredibly positive, psychologically safe, and ultimately productive environment where people feel valued, supported, and free to innovate without fear of retribution.
They feel safe.
They know their leader has their back, fostering a deep sense of commitment to the shared mission and encouraging them to take calculated risks essential for growth. Research on organizational behavior indicates that teams led by humble leaders report 20% higher job satisfaction and 15% lower turnover rates compared to those led by more arrogant counterparts.
20% higher job satisfaction and lower turnover. Those are real numbers.
They are, and they have huge bottom-line impacts.
This also extends to how humble leaders approach oversight empowerment over micromanagement. A truly humble leader instinctively knows they don't have to have all the answers. They recognize the limits of their own knowledge and experience and understand that true expertise is distributed. Critically, they are confident enough in their own position and abilities that they don't feel threatened by the intelligence or success of others.
That's the key.
This is a key distinction from the insecure, arrogant leader who fears being outshone or having their authority questioned, leading them to micromanage and hoard information.
Precisely. Because they aren't threatened, humble leaders actively surround themselves with talented, diverse people, recognizing that a breadth of perspective is a strategic asset. And then, crucially, they give those people the autonomy and freedom to do their best work, to experiment, and to learn from their own initiatives.
They trust them.
They trust their team to execute, to innovate, and to take ownership of their projects. This kind of leadership creates an environment where people feel genuinely empowered, deeply respected for their contributions, and truly invested in the team's mission, not just following orders.
They become collaborators.
Exactly. They're collaborators in a shared journey, not just cogs in a machine. This distributed leadership model, as evidenced in studies of high-performing tech companies, is directly linked to increased creativity, faster decision-making, and superior problem-solving capabilities.
So it's not just nice, it's effective.
It's highly effective.
Yeah.
Now, this raises an important question. How do leaders practically integrate humility into their daily operations and leadership style?
Right, how do you do it?
Our sources move beyond just the conceptual here, providing incredible, actionable frameworks that turn humility from an abstract idea into a concrete, repeatable plan for building high-performance teams and fostering a thriving culture. PV Ramana Murthy's longitudinal study, which tracked leadership performance across 3 Fortune 500 companies over 5 years. Well, it didn't just propose, it quantified how specific humble behaviors translated into measurable team metrics.
Quantified it, okay.
His Apple framework, for instance, emerged directly from observational data on hundreds of executive interactions, demonstrating a direct correlation between these practices and reduced employee turnover and increased team innovation.
Yes, Murthy's Apple framework is a fantastic example of this. It outlines key, observable behaviors for what humble leadership actually looks like in action, making it tangible. The A stands for an appreciative mindset. This means consistently celebrating every small achievement, recognizing progress, and highlighting successes to motivate the team.
Right, not just the big finish line.
Exactly. It's not just about big wins. It's about building momentum through constant positive reinforcement. Murthy's research found that teams whose leaders practiced an appreciative mindset reported a 25% higher sense of psychological safety, allowing them to experiment more freely.
Okay, so A is appreciative mindset. What's the first P?
The first P is for positive possibilities. A humble leader actively seeks and sees solutions amid problems, even when challenges seem insurmountable. They consistently create hope instead of dwelling on negativity or allowing the team to fall into despair.
So a forward-looking, hopeful stance.
Yes, it's a mindset that actively seeks a path forward, reframing obstacles as opportunities. This was linked in Murthy's study to a 10% faster resolution of complex organizational crises.
Okay, and the second P?
The second P is for path showing. This means don't just tell people what to do from an ivory tower, actually show them the way by setting a positive, consistent example. Lead by doing, by demonstrating the values and effort you expect from others.
Walk the talk.
Exactly. Whether it's putting in extra hours when needed or admitting a mistake, it builds credibility and trust.
Makes sense. APP. What's L?
And then the L in APLE stands for lightheartedness, maintaining a sense of humor and calmness, even in the most stressful or challenging situations.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right. This isn't about trivializing problems, but about radiating a steady, reassuring presence that strengthens team cohesion and reduces anxiety, particularly during periods of high pressure. Murthy observed that leaders exhibiting lightheartedness had teams with significantly lower reported stress levels and higher creative output.
Lower stress, more creativity. That's huge. And E.
And finally, the E is for evolution, a commitment to continuous learning and growth daily, regardless of how successful one might currently be.
The learning machine again.
Yes, it's an acknowledgement that there's always more to learn and improve upon, modeling that growth mindset for the entire team, making learning a core cultural value.
This APLE framework, when you break it down, is a powerful reminder that leadership is as much about building and nurturing a positive, resilient culture as it is about providing strategic direction. It emphasizes the how of leadership, not just the what, translating abstract virtues into concrete, measurable actions.
But there's more. Another framework for leaders emerging from similar research is image, which provides another equally valuable lens through which to view humble, impactful leadership.
Okay, image.
The I stands for intensity, working with genuine passion and unwavering commitment, bringing your full energy to the task. This isn't about aggression, but about a focused, dedicated drive that inspires a similar level of commitment in others. The data suggests that a leader's visible intensity can increase team productivity by up to 18%.
Intensity, okay.
The M is for mindful excellence, focusing deeply on the process and ensuring quality in every step, not just fixating on the end results. It's about valuing the journey and the craftsmanship involved, fostering a culture of high standards and continuous improvement.
Quality in the process, got it. A.
The A is for ahead of time, understanding future trends, anticipating challenges before they fully materialize, and proactively adapting strategies rather than reactively responding to crises.
Being proactive.
Exactly. This forward-thinking approach, rooted in a humble recognition of an ever-changing landscape, is a hallmark of strategic, agile leadership.
Makes sense.
G. The G in image is for gratitude, expressing genuine thanks and consistently recognizing the efforts and contributions of others, not just the big wins, but the everyday acts of dedication. It's a daily practice of appreciation that reinforces value and belonging.
Gratitude, okay. And the final E.
And finally, the E is for emotional connect, building real, authentic human connections with the team members, moving beyond purely transactional relationships to foster genuine rapport, understanding, and trust, acknowledging their lives outside of work.
The human connection. Right. The image framework, much like APLE, demonstrates that humility is not merely an internal attitude or a passive virtue, but a concrete, actionable plan for cultivating high-performance teams and creating an environment where every individual can excel. It's about operationalizing empathy and respect. The sources cite a compelling illustrative example. A humble CEO who consistently learned from their team members, genuinely valued their input, and, as a direct result, led their company to exponential growth.
A real-world case.
Yes. This story underscores how humility isn't a weakness that holds you back, but a smart, strategic approach that propels an organization forward. As noted by organizational psychologist Dr. Swapta Perry in her review of Murthy's work, the crucial element is that humble leaders don't just say they learn from mistakes. Their neurological responses show reduced amygdala activation during critical feedback sessions, indicating a genuine capacity for self-correction over defensiveness.
Wow, so it's measurable in the brain.
This isn't just theory, it's biologically measurable.
So whether you lead a team formally in a boardroom, manage a department, or influence a group of friends in a more informal setting, these insights and frameworks are invaluable for fostering loyalty, inspiring genuine engagement, and driving collective success. They offer a blueprint for truly impactful leadership that resonates far beyond just directives, building resilient, innovative, and deeply human-centered organizations.
Absolutely. Very practical tools.
Theory is one thing, and frameworks are incredibly helpful for guiding action, but how does this unseen power actually manifest in the wild? How does it play out in our daily lives, in the corporate world, and even in our most personal spheres? Our sources give us compelling real-world examples that bring these powerful concepts to life, showing us that humility isn't just an ideal, but a tangible, measurable force for good.
Yeah, and one of the core challenges for us as observers is understanding how to truly recognize humility in action, how it makes a practical, measurable difference in diverse contexts, from the high-stakes corporate boardroom to the most intimate corners of our everyday interactions. The examples help ground these powerful ideas in reality, moving them from abstract to actionable.
Let's start in the realm of leadership with a widely recognized figure, Satya Nadella at Microsoft. This is a truly compelling example of humility as a strategic differentiator on a massive scale.
Oh, definitely.
When he took over the company, it was, by many accounts, stagnant, marked by internal silos, and suffering from a culture that some might describe as arrogant, insular, and resistant to change.
They had kind of lost their way a bit.
Right. Nadella transformed its culture with a powerful yet simple mantra, shifting from a know-it-all mindset to a learn-it-all mindset.
Love that phrase.
Me too. He deliberately empowered his people, fostering an environment where curiosity was celebrated over assumed expertise, where collaboration superseded internal competition. He listened intently, not just to his internal teams, but crucially to customers and partners, understanding their evolving needs and pain points.
Hmm.
The result: he led one of the greatest corporate turnarounds in modern history, revitalizing a tech giant from a stagnant legacy player into a market leader.
And Nadella's transformation, as rigorously analyzed in our sources, wasn't just a cultural shift. It was a masterclass in fostering uh, organizational ambidexterity.
Organizational ambidexterity. Okay.
Yeah, the ability to both exploit current resources and explore new opportunities simultaneously. His humble leadership created the psychological safety essential for open innovation,
Right, that's safety again.
allowing teams to take calculated risks without fear of retribution, to challenge old assumptions, and to embrace new paradigms like cloud computing. The empirical data suggests this cultural shift resulted in a measurable decrease in organizational inertia and a significant uptick in patent applications directly tied to cross-functional collaboration,
Wow.
which is a powerful metric for strategic advantage and long-term market dominance. It's a testament to the idea that openness is a catalyst for monumental, sustainable change.
Now let's bring it closer to home, to your own career trajectory and professional advancement. Think about who genuinely gets ahead, who truly gets promoted, not just through aggressive self-promotion, but through sustained impact. Our sources suggest that the most promotable person isn't always the loudest, the most self-aggrandizing individual in the office, or the one always claiming victory.
No, often not.
It's often the one who consistently collaborates most effectively, who actively works to elevate their team members, celebrating their successes publicly, and who genuinely takes responsibility for setbacks without deflecting blame.
Those are the people you want on your team.
Exactly. These are the humble behaviors that managers truly value and seek to retain.
Indeed. Managers, in their heart of hearts, actively fight to keep these humble, team-oriented individuals on their team. They recognize their invaluable contribution not just to individual projects, but to team cohesion, overall productivity, and morale. Such individuals are seen as force multipliers, making everyone around them better, more engaged, and more effective.
Force multipliers, I like that.
Yeah. They contribute to a positive working environment and foster a culture of mutual support. Consequently, these individuals are considered indispensable assets to any organization, far more so than someone who might be brilliant but is also highly self-centered, difficult to work with, or constantly creating friction. Data from human resources analytics often shows a 20–25% higher likelihood of promotion for individuals consistently demonstrating humble collaborative traits,
Right.
as they're seen as future leaders capable of uniting and developing others.
And finally, let's talk about your personal life, because this is where the impact of humility is perhaps most deeply and intimately felt. Humility allows for significantly deeper and far more authentic connections with everyone around you, your family, your friends, your partners. It's about actions, like being able to say, I'm sorry, and genuinely meaning it, not just going through the motions, but understanding and accepting your part in a disagreement.
Which is harder than it sounds sometimes.
It really is. It's about being sincerely happy for others' successes, celebrating their wins wholeheartedly, offering genuine congratulations, rather than secretly feeling envious or competitive, which can corrode relationships from within.
That quiet envy is toxic.
It is.
It's also fundamentally about active listening in your personal interactions, truly listening to understand, not just formulating your reply in your head while the other person is speaking.
Giving that full attention.
Yes. This means giving someone your full, unreserved attention, allowing them to fully articulate their thoughts and feelings. These seemingly small, consistent behaviors build a robust, genuine network of people who truly have your back, offering unwavering support and fostering relationships that are built on mutual respect, genuine care, and vulnerability, rather than superficial exchanges or conditional affection. Studies on long-term relationships consistently link relationship satisfaction and longevity to partners' ability to practice humility, particularly in conflict resolution and mutual affirmation.
So for you, our listener, think about the individuals you trust most deeply in your personal life. Do these humble traits, their genuine listening, their readiness to apologize, their authentic joy for your successes, their willingness to be vulnerable, resonate with why you value their presence and consider them essential in your life?
It's often these quiet qualities that underpin our most cherished and enduring bonds.
So, we've explored what humility truly is, dispelling those old myths, and we've clearly seen its profound impact on personal growth, relationships, and leadership. But the big question remains, how do you actually do it? How do you consciously become more humble without becoming a doormat or somehow diminishing your own very real strengths and capabilities?
Right, the practical side.
It can feel like a delicate tightrope walk between confidence and quiet self-awareness.
Well, what's truly insightful here is that the sources aren't just theoretical. They provide practical, actionable steps for cultivating this vital trait. It's clear that cultivating humility is a practice, a continuous journey of self-awareness and intentional action, not a one-time destination you arrive at.
It's a muscle you build.
Exactly. It's about consistent effort, like building any other valuable skill, and it requires deliberate practice and reflection.
Let's dive into 3 very practical steps you can start implementing today. The first is practice active listening. Now, this might sound simple, but our sources show it's incredibly difficult to do well consistently. Your explicit goal in your very next conversation is to truly understand the other person's perspective.
Just to understand.
Without any agenda of your own, without prejudging, without planning your retort. This means not just waiting for your turn to speak, but consciously engaging what psychologists call empathic listening. Try techniques like reflective listening, repeating back in your own words what you think you heard them say, maybe starting with, so if I'm understanding correctly, you're feeling X because of Y.
Clarifying, yeah.
This isn't just about showing you're paying attention, it's a powerful feedback loop for clarification, ensuring you haven't projected your own assumptions onto their message. Resist the urge to fix their problem immediately, or to interject with your similar experience unless explicitly asked. Just listen, clarify, and validate.
The outcome of this, as the sources strongly suggest, and neuroscientific data reinforces, is profound. This kind of deep listening not only makes others feel uniquely valued and understood, but it also reduces their stress responses, making them more open to collaboration, mutual understanding, and constructive dialogue.
Wow.
You'll be amazed at what new insights you gain, what information you pick up that you might otherwise have missed, and how profoundly this simple, consistent act changes the dynamic of your interactions. People feel valued, and they, in turn, become more open to what you have to say, creating a virtuous cycle of communication.
Okay, step 1, active listening. What's step 2?
Step 2 is to embrace the mantra. I could be wrong.
I could be wrong. Okay.
This is a powerful, transformative mental shift that can liberate your thinking, and this is explicitly not a statement of weakness or insecurity.
Right.
On the contrary, it's a statement of profound intellectual honesty and openness. It recognizes the inherent limitations of any single perspective, including your own, and signals a willingness to engage with complexity rather than simplifying it.
It keeps you open.
Exactly. Imagine a scientist who firmly believes they already know the answer. How much discovery would they miss? This mantra forces you to stay open.
So what's the impact of thinking I could be wrong?
Well, the impact is immediate and far-reaching, both internally and in your interactions. It immediately opens up new possibilities, encouraging a broader exploration of ideas because you're not locked into a fixed position. It disarms potential conflict because you're signaling a willingness to consider other viewpoints rather than rigidly defending your own, which often triggers defensiveness in others.
Lowers the temperature.
Yes. And it encourages deeper, more collaborative exploration of ideas because you're inviting others to contribute, challenge, and refine the understanding rather than shutting them down with certainty. Cognitive psychologists have found that people who regularly engage in intellectual humility demonstrate superior critical thinking skills and are less susceptible to confirmation bias.
Less confirmation bias, better thinking. Okay, active listening. I could be wrong. What's the third step?
And for our third step, it's about actively seek critical feedback.
Ooh.
That sounds tough.
It can be daunting for many people because it requires genuine vulnerability. But our sources describe it as one of the fastest routes to growth. The action here is to actively ask mentors, trusted peers, supervisors, or even trusted friends, what's one thing I could do better?
Okay.
What's an area where I could improve or where I might have a blind spot? Be specific in your request to elicit actionable insights. And when you receive that feedback, your response is crucial. Thank them sincerely for their honesty, without getting defensive, making excuses, or trying to explain away their observation.
Fantastic.
Just absorb it, genuinely consider it, and if appropriate, ask clarifying questions for understanding, not for debate.
Okay.
The sources describe this practice as rocket fuel for growth, and the data backs this up. Longitudinal studies on professional development show that individuals who actively and consistently seek out and integrate critical feedback grow and improve their performance at rates up to 50% faster than those who avoid it. 50% faster growth.
Yeah.
Just from asking for feedback.
And integrating it, yes. It's an accelerant propelling your learning and personal improvement faster than almost anything else you could do. It demonstrates a deep commitment to self-improvement and a secure enough sense of self to welcome constructive criticism as a gift rather than a threat.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not about tearing yourself down.
Not at all. The key takeaway on cultivation here, for you, is to remember that this journey isn't about diminishing yourself or making yourself smaller. It's about consciously and strategically making room for everything and everyone else to make you stronger, wiser, more influential, and ultimately more effective and fulfilled in every aspect of your life. It's a profound amplification of your own capabilities and impact.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener, as we wrap up this deep dive? As we've journeyed through these insights, we've seen unequivocally that humility isn't a weakness to be avoided. It's a quiet, profound confidence that fuels unstoppable personal growth, builds the deepest, most authentic connections imaginable, and lays the indestructible cornerstone for truly transformative leadership. It truly is an unseen superpower waiting to be recognized and activated within you, not by diminishing who you are, but by accurately understanding and leveraging it.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, in a world that often explicitly rewards ego, constant self-promotion, and the loudest voices, humility is the hidden strength, the quiet advantage that positions you as a long-term winner, ensuring relevance and impact far beyond fleeting trends.
The long game.
Exactly. It's not about trying to win alone. It's about creating an environment where everyone around you can thrive, where ideas can flow freely, and where collective potential is fully realized. It strengthens the entire track so that everyone, including yourself, can run faster, go further, and achieve more meaningful and lasting success. It's the ultimate sustainable advantage.
So we challenge you this week, dear listener. Practice a little humility. Make a conscious, intentional effort in your daily interactions. Listen deeply to someone you might usually interrupt or dominate in conversation, giving them your full presence.
Just listen.
Admit a mistake freely and genuinely when you make one, without defensiveness or equivocation, and observe the shift in trust.
Own it.
And generously share credit when you achieve something, highlighting the contributions of others, even small ones. See how these small intentional acts begin to change your world, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Remember, real leaders don't shout to be heard. They listen to be remembered.